Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blazing bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you while I'm there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, hit you while I'm dead. Idle champions, you will say again. Idle champions.
Oh, yeah. When the music stops, I start talking. Yeah, hey everybody, welcome to Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show, the final show of 2022. I don't think this is going to need to maybe move around. All right. Today, we're going to be talking about the newly reworked Heroes of Baldur's Gate, aka the Flayer Hunters. They are the Season 2 group. We see these are the 5 specifically that get being put into Season 2, the Flayer Hunters. But the whole team got a bit of a rework. So we're going to go over all of it today. It is fresh, it is new, it is clean. It's interesting. And I now have all of their guides. Most of the guides. I think I got all of them. I think last night I got the last ones. All the guides should be updated now in the subreddit. We do have another champion though that is not represented here that will be showing up Wednesday, so won't be covered in this, but will be covered in a future tutorial show, I'm sure. Imoen is joining the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. She'll be over here in slot 11 where Jamila is, so you can check out the Codename Entertainment blog for more information on Imoen. At least you didn't have to update Imoen's guide. Still got to make it though. We have Martin joining us today. Martin's going to be running the backstage. They'll grab your questions out of chat. As always, do the question thing down below in the white box. You can ask questions at any time, but I don't answer the questions until the second half of this show. So the first half, roughly, I'll be trying to go over all these champions, and then we'll do all the answers. Let me get this out here so it slows down a bit. All right. You know what? I feel like I'm just gonna go around. I'm gonna just do this in bench slot order. Because why not? because why not? And apologies for the cameras. Oh, they finally started working right. All right. Well, the camera started working right, but my beard didn't, so it's going to be one of those days, folks. All right. Here we go. Let's talk about Cridel. Why is Cridel in the front row? Some of you are probably asking. Well, with the rework, Cridel became a tank. That's right, folks. Idle Champions has its first rogue tank, which is also why I have to put feats on him, because it kicked one of his out because they removed it. Cridel is now a rogue tanking support instead of DPS support. A lot of like the basic stuff, like his basic attack, kind of stays the same. Although they did change now that he's not a DPS. They did change so that there's some extra damage that comes with his ultimate. Instead of being based off him, it's based off Bud, and I think with the smoke pad, there's some adjustments to make sure that he's still performing. But yeah, Cridel's now a tank. You can see his slot 1 item is now a health item. I'll be honest, I'm not sure why he has a health item. I know I just said he's a tank, but well, we'll get into that. His overwhelm, folks, is not 45, although that's pretty amazing. I had not put him into a full group yet. Cridel's overwhelm is 5 plus the number of heroes of Baldur's Gate. 5 plus the number of heroes of Baldur's Gate in the formation. So when Imoen comes out, if you do a full Baldur's Gate formation for some reason, he will have 50 overwhelm just from that. Overwhelm is a big deal. Overwhelm is a big deal for him. We'll get to talk about that in his kit. But I do want to point out, I guess before I should preface this, they did state that it's not necessarily that they think you're going to use all of the Baldur's Gate group together all the time. They did this redesign with the idea that you're going to use small groups of them to fill out other formations that you're building. You can, of course, just go all Baldur's Gate if you want, but they recognize that it may be far more optimal for you to just to pick and choose the people, like a few of the people, and you'll see there are definitely some synergies here. They all work together better as a group, but they also work together in small groups in pretty interesting ways. Cridel does start out. I mean, if I pull out Nearness, Cridel's overwhelm goes down. So it does start at 5, and it goes up for every Heroes of Baldur's Gate the formation. Yes, it does count him. So technically, once you put him in, his base is 10, if you want to think of it that way. But it is truly 5 plus him. It just counts him. And I know this because if I take him out, if he was the only one if everybody is out, wow, he just sits at 40 because the others are in. If he's the only one that I've leveled up, he sits at 5 when he's on the bench. All right, so let's dive in. From the Shadows, this ability, you recognize this, it changed slightly. So from the Shadows, increase the damage of all champions in the back 2 columns of the formation by an amount. The amount may vary. Previously, this doubled the bonus if it was a Heroes of Baldur's Gate, including Cridel. Now it's just flat positional formation, back 2 columns. Okay. Evasion. This is his tanking ability, and it is unique to the game, obviously, as a rogue tank. So Cridel begins every area with stacks of evasion equal to his overwhelm. This is why his overwhelm number being high is a big deal. As long as when Cridel gets attacked, as long as he has at least 1 stack of evasion left, he dodges the attack completely and uses up 1 stack of evasion. Cridel restores 2 stacks of evasion every second for each healing champion in the formation. You heard that right, folks. Cridel, the tank that takes no damage, is the tank that finally made healers useful in the modern game. Because healing just doesn't keep up. But hey, as long as the healer's in the formation, you're keeping him alive. Number of stacks cannot surpass his overwhelm. So whatever you pump his overwhelm up to is where it's going to be. and then it's just going to go down from there. So the ideal situation is, you make it so that his formation has enough healers that he's constantly restoring whatever you need to move to the next level. If this is now, here's the kicker. And this is what's going to be challenging for Cridel as a tank. If a boss or enemies are enraged, max stacks are divided by the enrage multiplier, rounded down. So when it hits 2x enrage, which is the very first thing, his overwhelm gets cut in half. And then 3x is a third, 4x is a quarter. It starts going away. The idea is Cridel good dodge tank, but the longer you're sitting there trying to fight a boss, the higher the odds are he's gonna get hit in the face and fall over. That's just the way it is. So Cridel is not the tank that you want to like stack up outrageous enrage numbers. He ain't gonna live through that. But he is the tank that you can use for pushing. In general, you can do variants with him. You can do those static bosses that don't ever enrage. I can't wait to start a new account and try Cridel face tanking Valindra Shadow Mantle for lots of reasons, but this is one of them because Valindra doesn't enrage. Valindra doesn't enrage. And you usually have some healers, so I feel like Cridel just like, nope, never getting hit. Thanks. All right. Overwhelming odds. This is the thing. Cridel gains 5 overwhelm for each hero of Baldur's Gate champion in the formation. That's how he ramps his number up. Charismatic Leader. This used to be the ability that was just a pain. It had these different stat like windows and like above or below this and inside of this, and it was just it's kind of what made Cridel somebody nobody really wanted to use. So they just changed that. They're like, this increases the effective from the shadows by 100% for each champion with the Heroes of Baldur's Gate affiliation, or a charisma score of 15 or higher. And it stacks multiplicatively. That's the good way. So, you run a big group that meets this, he's going to get a huge bonus because of the multiplicative. So if we come over here and we look at Charismatic Leader, we're looking at 8 stacks right now for an EO5 bonus. I haven't even finished building my formation yet. I'll take it. Because that's just a straight EO5 to From the Shadows. What's From the Shadows sitting at now with that? EO7. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad for a tank. Look out. This is the other reason I want to try Cridel with Valindra. Cridel reduces the damage taken by other champions in the formation by 75%. 75% damage reduction. 75%. Assuming he has at least 1 stack of evasion and is in the frontmost column of the formation. So when he's tanking, he reduces damage by 75%. Look, folks, this is better than health share on a tank. This is better than a tank giving you tons of health. Why? Because this scales with damage. Health is just a flat number. 75% damage reduction scales all the way to 2,000 and beyond. So, well, Jason, it depends on. So here's the thing. I'm going to address this comment in chat. You can't use him in the front order because of Dragon Bait in Valindra Shadow Mantle. Well, that's what we have to try out. That's why I want to try him, because technically the front column is the second column in that variant. I need to see how the rules treat that. We'll find out. I will find out at some point. But anyway, back to this. 75% damage reduction. That's a big deal. So this is great against AoE bosses. Any and every AoE boss. Any and every AoE enemy. 75% damage reduction. Oh, Neoxel, you did it and there's no damage. Submit a bug report. I would. So yeah, look out. Big deal. Big deal. It is the high level ability 330, so you're not getting that damage reduction until he gets up there, but ooh, yeah. Alright, specializations. There's only 2. Make it real easy. You can either increase the effect of his buff by 200%, or you can change his base max health. I'll be honest, I don't understand this one. He's a tank that exists based around the concept of not taking damage. So they raise his base max health is increased by 75%. Folks, his base max health is like 35 or something. And I know it's for every 50 areas, but only up to area 600, so it's going to do it, what, 2 to 12 times? I don't know. I mean, if it increased his, whatever his current max health was by 75%, I don't know about the base health. So for now, I'm going to say, you know what? Rely on the dodge and go charismatic leader. Because even right now, with this health item, I'm at 375. I'm at 375. Yeah. And it's the issue is that it specifically calls out base max health. So that means before a health share is the way that reads. So, yeah. I mean, here, I'll take it, and we'll look at his health, because I'm already past 50. What did we go to? 656. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, this is really... Cridel's the tank that, finally... I don't put a lot of... usually don't care too much about Overwhelm as a number. You tend to have enough, and it tends to do its thing, and there's only very rare circumstances where I'll actually put, like, an Overwhelm feat on somebody. I even forget often about the fact that Freely can raise someone's Overwhelm by 5. If he's within 2 of them when they're getting attacked. So, but Cridel is now a tank where I would roll down here and I would go, well, I want this feat, I want the 10 more Overwhelm, because now I'm at 55. And yes, give me all the Overwhelm I can get. Because Cridel's never going to be that, without it, Cridel can't really tank much beyond this. He just can't. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. It'll be interesting. I think you could probably build a formation where you could keep him alive, but yeah. So here we see his current evasion stacks, current max stacks, current max stacks. It doesn't tell us how much we're. Yeah, it doesn't tell us how much we're regenning every second, but we do have multiple healers in here, so that's nice. So when you're running in this formation, you're going to get, you're going to get at least, what, two healers? So that's 4. 4 Overwhelm back every second. So Cridel may be one of those tanks where he would combo really good with, like, Blushi or Briv. Because Blushi and Briv both have taunts. Right? So he will get hit less often, and they can take more of the damage, and yeah, write that out. So items, again, health item now on the first one, damage all champions, from the shadows, charismatic leader, so all the stuff we've been used to. Ultimate attack and ultimate attack cooldown. He did get a lot more feats. Obviously, they switched his self-damage to tanking stuff, so he has a health feat. Again, I don't know that that's a big deal. We'll see. Happily proven wrong. We get the damage all champions, we get from the shadows, we get charismatic leader, obviously the overwhelm that are important. The upcoming season will give him a prodigal leader, the 50%. There's also another charismatic leader down here. They now split this. They'll show you that it's, hey, you can pay 55,000 gems, or you can buy the pack in the shop that it comes with, whichever works for you. But that's Cridel, everyone. Oh, let me show you the ultimate. I mean, I feel like we've seen the ultimate before. It didn't change. He just jumps out and stabs somebody in the back real hard. That's it. That's it, folks. Next, Bailoth, the Entertainer. Bailoth didn't change a whole lot, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, because he didn't... I feel like everybody should know Bailoth, but, yeah. Chain Lightning is the base attack, magic. It arcs to up to 4 times. It does less damage per arc, but that's the big deal, is it hits a total of like up to 5 targets. And you want that, because he spreads stuff. He spreads stuff. He spreads joy and happiness everywhere he goes. That's what he spreads. Jeez. Oh no, now we need a Santa Bailoth skin. With a candy cane. I wonder. Folks, sign up for the newsletter. If you sign up real soon, they're going to be sending out a holiday skin. If maybe that was the I don't know. No, that was no. Well, there was a free Shandy given out. If you want Shandy, there's a free Cridel given out right now. Get those codes out of chat. Somebody will post them. But sign up for the newsletter, because they usually give us a skin in the email. Bailoth, paid partially with pain. Enemies hit by chain lightning drop more gold when killed. This is why it's nice that it hits multiple things. Cause for celebration. Enemies killed by champions in the column ahead of or behind Bailoth explode into magical paper confetti, dealing damage and slowing enemies near them by 50% for 10 seconds. Damage done ignores debuffs and is either half of the hit that killed them or 1/4 of their max health, whichever's higher. This effect can chain. So that's neat. The placement notation here is you either want him ahead of or behind your DPS. Morbid Excitement. This is where we saw the small change. So, Morbid Excitement. All champions in the column in front of or behind, so same placement, do more damage per Morbid Excitement stack. Morbid Excitement loses 10% of stacks every 10 seconds, and caps at a number that varies. It varies. There's different ways to make it go up, so don't focus too much on that. Stacks earned for the following. This is the mechanic that now, we didn't see it on Cridel, but we're going to see it on a lot of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. A favored foe is defeated in 1 stack. So favored foes are now a thing. If you remember favored enemies on Minsk, and in a couple other places, that has now become favored foe. It is now a game-wide recognized term. Generally, favored foe. It doesn't have to always necessarily be a specific person's favored foe. In some cases, it will say, this works on any favored foe. As long as someone, we'll get to this, but as long as someone in the formation has a favored foe, this can trigger now. So this is a new general term you want to keep in mind. And then all the rest of these are the same. So an enemy drops more gold due to paid partially with pain as a stack. An enemy explodes in confetti. That's 2. Chain reaction, 3. Champions in any column in front of Bailoth take 5 stacks. This is why a lot of times you'll see Bailoth all the way in the back, like as far back and right behind the DPS. Instead of between the DPS and the tank, you'll see them all the way in the back, because he can build stacks off everyone in front. So if any AoEs hit the party, he gets stacks off everybody. And then if a champion sadly dies, you get 100 stacks. I will be honest, though, most of the time, if I'm really worried about getting lots of stacks, I just hit the ultimate. We're not there yet, but his ultimate is basically a max your stacks button, which is great. So keep that in mind. Generous Djinn. This is the hugeness out of Bailoth, if you're willing to manually set this up. Bailoth's Djinn Sergeant Najim will bring any champion that dies back to life at 1 HP and make them immune to all damage for a period of time. For as long as, because that can vary. For as long as the resurrected champion lives, the party's damage is increased by an amount. And that's per champion in the formation. And this ability has a 60-second cooldown. So what happens is we do what's called Djinn stacking, where you kill everybody off on purpose. And everybody gets a little Najim head on you to show that they've died, and then you get a lot of bonus damage. And by a lot of bonus damage, I mean, well, E10, E12. It's a lot. If you do the whole formation, it's a lot. It does take manual. It does take manually moving people around, swapping them off, killing them, but not killing them too hard. It's a thing. It's worth learning, just so you know. All right. The specializations did not change. So, first one, cause for celebration-related stacking values from Morbid Excitement by 100%. It increases it by 100% and increases the damage bonus by 100%. So this could double your stacks if you wanted, while also doubling your damage. Overexcited increases the max stacks by 200%. So this would triple your stacks if you just want higher stacks. The show must go on. So these work for general pushing purposes, like variants and stuff. But if you're going to do a deep push, I recommend the show must go on. Champions resurrected by Najim are invulnerable for an additional 10 seconds and increase the pre-stack damage bonus of resurrected champions by 100%. This is the big one. This is the big one. If you're going to go deep, you want the show must go on. And you want to manually Jin stack. It's just worth it. It just is. I know it can be hard on some platforms, but try it. Try to figure out a way to do it, because it's a big deal. Item-wise, damage, pair damage all champions. We get paid partially with pain. We get Morbid Excitement. We get another Morbid Excitement, because this one increases the effect, and this one increases your stacks. It's like they're like, hey, Bailoth, BOP. And he's like, okay. And then finally, hey, post-stack buff of Generous Jin. So literally, Bailoth is a 6-item champion. A true 6-item champion in the sense that every single item boosts his effectiveness. Nothing on ultimate cooldown, nothing on ultimate attack damage. Forget that stuff. It's just all bonuses all the time with Bailoth. Speaking of the ultimate, it is a long cooldown ultimate because of what it does. So Najim streaks across the field, dealing massive damage to all enemies, pushing ones that survive back slightly, but more importantly, increasing Bailoth's excitement stacks to max. So right now, let's see where I'm at. I have no stacks, but I could be at 2247. So I hit this ultimate, there goes Najim, and suddenly I'm at 2247, and I've got an E10% buff from that. So there you go, folks. In the 2,000 stack range, you're looking at an E10 bonus to damage just for hitting the ultimate. That's what we like. That's what we like. So yeah, Bailoth, real strong, folks, real strong. Damage all champions items. He does have gold find items. He's got increase the max stacks of Morbid Excitement if you want those. He's got Generous Jin. This is what I run all the time, is a pair of those. I should probably actually swap down here now. I've got Cursive Rhymes. Paid partially with pain, 40%. Morbid Excitement. See, I should do Morbid Excitement 80, and that's what I'm going to do. Pairs of 80s are better than an 80 and a 40. He's got Prodigal Leader that comes in a pack. He's got Fortune's Favor, which is 50% gold find. Like, you know, if you're running Bailoth as a newer player, here's the thing. If you're a newer player in general, a lot of times running the gold find feats and the gold bonus feats are going to be better for you because you're earning more gold, which means you're able to level up your champions more, which gives you way more power than these other feats would. Hot tip. And then increase the effect of Morbid Excitement, right? All right, so that's Bailoth, the Entertainer. We have skins, right? Yeah, there's some skins. The new season's going to have the flare, the 15 pieces of flare skins, as I like to call them. But everybody's got, I think most people, I don't know if, everybody's got at least, well, I don't know if Viconia has one. I'm going to switch Blood War. The Blood War set is pretty cool. It was based off art done by Max Dunbar. This Bailoth's got a few. I like the pirate skin because pirate. Next up, Viconia, a resident necromancer. That's not somebody that kisses your neck, folks. I just want to be clear. Healing support. We get a ranged base attack. For a cleric, they literally sling a stone at an enemy. Sure, Viconia, sure. First ability, Cleric of Shar, increases damage of evil champions. Necromancer. Well, I call them a Necromancer. They're technically a Drow Cleric of Shar, but we'll get to that. I call them a Necromancer because they have an animate dead ability. I'm not being technically correct in this mark, but I like the feel. So, evil champions and heroes of Baldur's Gate by a bunch. So, you want to run her with Baldur's Gate, or you want to run her in an evil formation. Cure medium wounds, so heals allies that are under 50% health for an amount of health per second that will change for 5 seconds. So that's a heal over time. She drops on whoever's under 50% health. Yeah, sure. Animate dead. This is why I call her a Necromancer. When a non-boss enemy is killed, there is a 20% chance that Viconia will seize control of its lifeless body and turn it against its former allies for 10 seconds, stopping their movement. While it is reanimated, it deals a percent that changes of your bud to nearby enemies each second. You may have seen this in the background. We'll watch it here. It's going to be that it's a big call out. There it is, that big purple circle, and then it just turns them around, and then they start attacking anybody that comes out. And then it just starts chaining, and then suddenly you have an army of undead helping you. She's so much fun. Okay. Specializations. Holy Power increases the effective Cleric of Shar by 100% for each column away from the backmost column she is. So you want her right behind the tanks. You want her right behind the tanks because it stacks multiplicatively. So the longer the formation is, the more you're going to get out of that specialization choice. This tends to be the good general specialization choice for you to use for pushing. So the longer the formation is, the more you're going to get out of it. Begrudging Respect, this changes how she functions. So she would, Cleric of Shar would affect neutral champions instead of evil ones. So here's a Baldur's Gate and neutral. So that gives her a nice formation building option in case the DPS you want to use is neutral and not evil. Still covers all the heroes of Baldur's Gate, though. And then Turn Undead, this increases the chance for Animate Dead to trigger by 100%. So if you like to see all these circles on the screen with all these enemies killing their friends, go with that. That's what I do. But I do it just for fun, folks. I want to be clear. I just find it fun. The more optimal one is the left-hand specialization choice. For if I'm using an evil or Heroes of Baldur's Gate DPS. We got the ultimate. Oh, and this is the new ability. Yesterday's Undead. So whenever a non-boss, non-static, non-undead enemy spawns. So it can't be a boss. It can't be a static enemy like a portal or a torch or a log on the ground, like those kinds of things. And non-undead, so it can't already be an undead enemy. There's a 20% chance that it spawns as an undead version of itself, while also retaining its original tag. So it could be a beast, and it becomes an undead beast. It could be a fae, it becomes an undead fae. It can be an elf, it becomes an undead elf. It could be a dragon. It becomes an undead dragon, as long as it's not a boss. Right? This is why it can't be a boss. It can't be a block of wood, Tim knows. And it can't be an undead. Because that's... Come on. So yeah, basically she creates undead. She is an undead creator. Doesn't do anything necessarily for her, but it does things for other people. There's a couple off the top of my head that I know like undead. You know who likes killing all the undead? Zorbu, along with killing all the other things. But Zorbu loves killing undead. Well, hey, Viconia and Zorbu, now a combo. Esmeralda loves helping you kill undead. Viconia and Esmeralda, now a combo. Minsk has an option to have his favorite foe be undead. Yeah, see where we're going here? So she creates undead now. Ultimate Unholy Blight. So it's this miasma of cold and greasy darkness that damages all enemies and then increases the odds of any enemies it kills to trigger animate dead. So it's basically you want a bunch of animated dead on your screen, pop this, right? If we'd had a huge mess of enemies, they would have probably fallen over and then come back, and yeah. Item-wise, damage all champions, buff Cleric of Shar, buff Animate Dead, buff Cure Medium Wounds. Sure, why not? And then ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. Feat-wise, we get a bunch of damage all champion stuff. You get the Cleric of Shar, you can increase the chance of Animate Dead triggering again because it's fun. Because it's fun, folks. Also, it does bud-based damage, and that's nice. Yesterday's Undead. There's two of those. These are new. One of them's a season only. So, a lot of the feats I think are in the paid path, but there might be some in the. I can't remember. We reviewed them yesterday on GG2E, but check the preview. The rewards are in there. And Cure Medium Wounds, right? That's Viconia. Does she have? Oh yeah, she does. Oh, and I have it. Hey, Vecna Cultist skin. Oh yeah, that was from the recent one. Okay, cool. Next up, Shandy, the hero of Baldur's Gate. Shandy was already an amazing speed champion. Honestly, Briv and Human usually hold the top two for speed. I always put Shandy in the third slot. These changes make Shandy even a better speed champion. Not enough to overtake Briv and Human, but I think she makes her gap larger between 3 and 4, right? So, shortbow expert, fires an arrow at a random enemy. Survivalist, these things didn't change. This is the smoke cloud and caltrops, and it's a 50% chance for enemies to miss their attacks. It's a real great survivability ultimate, especially if you consider you're potentially pairing it with Cridel now, right? That's going to help Cridel keep his evasion stacks. So all that stuff is the same. Agile, some of the abilities, the names stayed the same. They might have changed just a little bit. So Agile Allies increases the damage of champions within 2 slots of Shandy by 400% for each champion adjacent to Shandy who has a dex of 15 or higher. This is pretty much the same. So this is still her positional formation. This is still a positional formation ability. But it's now the only one she has. She used to have explosive arrows a positional, and it's not a positional anymore. So people who like to use her in Artemis and Morduke and Valentine and Archon formations, she's only thrown out one positional now, just so you know. So not as great for those niche use scenarios, but I think it made the changes to explosive arrow. We'll go over in a second. I think it made her better overall for everybody else. Dash. This is her speed ability. Increases the game speed by 25%. I have a feed in for that doubles it, so that's at 50%. But just know dash starts at 25% when the formation hasn't been under attack for 30 seconds. That used to be 60 seconds, folks. So her dash kicks in twice as fast now. Twice as fast. That's a big deal. You may not think it, but the sooner Shandy's dash kicks in, the faster you're able to get through early level stuff. And if you're doing a lot of speed champions and you're killing things real quickly on the screen, sometimes there were some of us who were going 200 or 300 levels before Shandy's dash would kick in, and now it's going to come in much, much faster. So fantastic change for in-game speed stuff. And even just regular speed stuff, because it means, hey, you were pushing and you took a stray arrow to the face. Well, now it's only 30 seconds for speed to kick back in. Explosive arrow. So this got changed slightly. So when the formation is under attack, well, actually, it got changed, I think, in a really fantastic way. But again, it did lose its positional formation ability status. When the formation is under attack, Shandy attacks with explosive arrows. The damage of all champions is increased by an amount times the largest number of enemies Shandy is hit with a single explosive arrow in the current area. This is the other big change. It used to buff the column in front of her based off how many enemies it hit with the last arrow, which could change, and thus the buff would go up and down all the time. Now it's taking the largest number it hit and it's keeping that status unless it gets beat. So it's become a high water mark on an area, and you'll keep doing that damage until you get a better high water mark, right? But it's an all champions damage buff now. So this, I think, is a fantastic change for a couple reasons. One, that high watermark thing. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, folks. The high watermark deal. Two, she now does not have to be right behind the DPS anymore. She always used to have to be in the column behind the DPS. Now she just needs to be within 2 adjacencies for agile allies. This frees up her formation placement a lot. She can be in front now. She can be to the side. She doesn't just have to be. She can be 2 back instead of 1 back. So, yeah, this is great. I think overall it's great. Obviously, that small group of players that use that other, not so great. Her specs changed because her speed stuff moved to feats. Her speed stuff moves to feet. So like I said, I have the feed in that doubles the thing, that doubles her speed now. You don't have to spec for that. I think that's great. Because quite honestly, when I want her for speed, I don't need these other bonuses. I just want her speed. And now when I want to push with her, I can just swap the feats out when I get to where I want to go and switch to damage stuff, right? So known allies is the new spec. The base effect of agile allies is additively increased by 100% for each Heroes of Baldur's Gate affiliated champion of the formation. So this is now number time. Shandy is now number time. I do wish it gave you a number down here. I do wish it gave you a number down here to tell you how many were in there, so you know what value this is. But you do have to do math now for Shandy. Alchemist Fire got a little boost, increased the effect of explosive arrow by 400%. So straight up flat damage, doesn't care who's in your formation. There's 400% more damage. Criminal Contacts, the base effect of agile allies is additively increased by 100% for each neutral or evil champion adjacent to Shandy. So the fight you're getting in here is, can you get a bigger bonus than explosive arrow? That's really what you're trying to do when you're looking at the left and right specs. Is that bonus bigger than explosive arrow with the formation that you're building? Otherwise, explosive arrow. Because explosive arrow is great. It's great. All right. So Shandy overall, in my opinion, for the vast majority of players, just got a huge buff, and she was already great. She was already the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. Now she's the hero of Baldur's Great. Look, folks, it's the last show of the year. All the puns are coming out. All champions damage for 2 items. Explosive arrow, agile allies, ultimate attack, ultimate cooldown. Again, she has that speed feat now. So damage all champions, a bunch of agile allies feats. She's now got the dash feat. That's the one I got in right now. Explosive arrow. She does have wisdom and charisma. I think this is just ability and variant stuff. This doesn't get you into any patrons that I'm aware of. A big explosive arrow feat in the pack in the shop, and then in the season, in the paid portion, like if you get the season pass, she gets a second wind feat. That's just decreases the time it takes Shandy's dash ability to trigger from 30 seconds down to 10 seconds. So if you like the speed from Shandy, and it used to be 60 seconds, now you can slot the speed feat that gives her 50% faster, and this feat to bring it down to 10 seconds. And that makes Shandy the reason for the season. No, it's just a big deal, folks. If you're somebody who's gonna pop for the season 2 stuff, the rewards are. There's a lot of good stuff here. It's, if it's still the $10 it was last time, it's still going to be one of the most efficient ways to spend $10 on this game. So, yeah, just lots of good stuff there. Minsk. We know Minsk, and boo. He's the Minsk guy. Yeah, he cleaves everything. That's what he does. DPS support, speed. I've always scoffed at the speed thing. They made an adjustment to his speed ability, and it's still not what I would call a speed ability, but it's better. He's getting better. He's getting a little better with it. I give him that. Thumbs up, Minsk. His specializations remain the same. They have always been about choosing who his favorite enemy is, but now, again, this is now called favored foe. This is now a game-wide mechanic amongst lots of different champions. They're called favored foes now. So you still choose. Do you want a humanoid, beast, undead, fae, monstrosities? We're going to make it undead because we've got Viconia in our party. So this way, you can always... Like, if you're putting him in with, like, Viconia, you know you'll always be able to create undead. Why is that important? It just means that there will always be somebody that you're going to be able to get those favored foe bonuses on. And if you're using him as a DPS, that means your bud's going to be able to spike high. And then maybe you... And then there are other people, like with the Animate Dead. It's doing bud-based damage. You have ways to clear that aren't necessarily just relying on Minsk. He's setting the bud, and then you're cleaning up with the bud using other methods, right? Favorite enemy is now... They should have just called it favored foe, but it's now a favored foe. Boastful was the speed ability, and it got a little boost. So whenever a non-boss enemy wave spawns, there used to be a 10% chance. Now there's a 33% chance. So we went from 1 in 10 to 1 in 3 of an extra enemy spawning. And then there used to be a 2% chance to get 2 enemies. Now it's a 10% chance. So it went from 1 in 50 to 1 in 10. So like I said, it's getting better. It's getting better. These extra enemies will always be Minsk's favored foe. So not only... It's not just a speed feature, and I will say, arguably, the speed effect is the smallest portion of it. It is a favored foe creator. Again, for the same reason. It allows him to spike his bud, it allows him to do a lot of damage, it allows him to trigger other stuff for other people. He is now a feeder. He's now a favored foe feeder for other people, not just himself, because there's other things that we're going to get into. Overkill, this is whenever he hits a single enemy with his cleave, he deals an extra amount of damage. This was the boss killer. It remains that, like that's what it's trying to be. Legendary Slayer, he deals extra damage against his favorite foes. It's the Bud Spiker, and that's it. He's real straightforward. He hits stuff with his sword real hard. The ultimate remains the same. Go for the eyes! Boo jumps around and slashes all their eyes out, and then he goes out and cleaves them. It's a debuff. It's nice. Damage all champions, self-damage, lots of it. We get favorite enemy. So you want to boost that damage you get? Sure. You want to boost overkill? Try to take out that boss. Sure. And he's getting he's got a prodigal leader thing in a pack, so. Let's boo. Let's boo with Minsk. Let's boo with Minsk. He has a lot of these. I always go with the giant boo costume, but we did Cridel in the Blood War, so let's do that. I forgot to switch Shandy. Shandy has a bunch as well. But all right, I want to go Solstice. Yeah, Solstice because it's the holidays. All right, now we're on to Delina. Who? It's always been the meme, folks. I want to say something. Minsk and Delina, as core champions, high potential damage. I know in the past people have memed off Delina. Minsk and Delina before these changes were, in my personal, second tier of damage, in the sense that when I tried to push real far with them and do damage at my wall, they performed. So, granted, Minsk was only against his favorite foe, but now he can create those. So now Delina just got buffed, folks. Delina already got buffed with the last soft cap upgrade, and no one really... I don't think anybody really noticed. I don't think anybody realized. She got real good at the top end. If you can cap her out. And she just got buffed. So here we go. Surge of Power. Increase the damage of Delina by 50% each time they attack, up to a max of 10 stacks. Stacks reset after 10 seconds. After reaching max or after not attacking for 10 seconds. This didn't change. This is her kind of swing. This is the thing that's always been weird for people, but this is her swing of damage. She does damage like this. You just kind of have to live with it. Empowered Spell. Whenever Delina attacks, there's a 50% chance that the spell will burn for an additional amount of damage over 6 seconds. This is her dot. I will say I'm sad that they didn't make this a Bud-based dot. Because I don't know that it really works very well. This should be what kills anything she can't one-shot. Like EO 4% more damage, sure. Specializations, you can either triple that dot, or you can double her surge of power. I tend to always go for this one because this is what sets Bud. The dot never does. Okay. The dot never sets Bud, so I like to go the right-hand spec. Spell Bombardment. So this is what got changed a little bit. So increases the damage of Delina by 100% for each champion in front of them in the formation. That was always the case. You always wanted to put her as far back as you could get away with. And by an additional 100% for each hero of Baldur's Gate champion in the formation. So that's a nice bonus because it stacks multiplicatively. So right now we have her all the way in the back. I'm getting an E11 bonus. E11. I don't even have a full formation and I'm missing 2 people. Delina, folks. Delina. Try it. So, obviously, it requires specific kind of formation builds. You really want a formation that has a single champion slot in the back so she can sit in it, like this. But if in those situations, Twin Spell, whenever Delina attacks, there's a 50% chance that they copy their attack onto another target. This is a big deal, because she only has one single target spell, base attack. Her other 2 are like either like a small AoE or like a big AoE. Do that twice. She has great wave clear. Always has. Always has. So Twin Spells is pretty solid. Controlled Chaos. Here's the thing. Surge of Power does this. Controlled Chaos just makes it do this for a little while. Keeps it at the top. So Delina's eyes begin to glow as she loses herself in her magic, attacking faster and causing her Surge of Power ability to not reset for 15 seconds. So she will attack faster and just ramp her damage up, and then it'll sit and plateau for 15 seconds. As long as you can make her attack fast, she's just going to plateau. Now she would only get a couple attacks usually, but she's going to speed up and go faster and faster. And if you have any other speed, like attack speed bonuses going on, she's just going to destroy things. Item-wise, pair of self-damage items. She doesn't buff anybody else. She is pure DPS. So if she is in your formation, she needs to be who you're building your damage around. We get Surge of Power, we get Spell Bombardment, we get Empowered Spell, and then Ultimate Attack Cooldown. So all good stuff. Self-damage items, you get the Empowered Spell. Remember, that's a dot. Surge of Power, though, is where I like to go. There's Spell Bombardment. This is now big. That's why I've got the 80% one on, because I can get her all the way in the back. That's what's giving her that bonus. Wisdom. She's got the Wisdom. This qualifies her for Githzerai Focus. I have not played with this craziness with Narak yet, but... yeah. So ideally, I would like Burst of Magic. I'm probably going to have to buy that. Burst of Magic with Spell Bombardment for me, because I don't think the dot is that big of a deal. And Delina has some skins. We'll throw in her Blood War instead of Raver Mom. All right. Oh, they are in the same slot. Well, why did they give her a Wisdom slot for Narak? I don't know. Maybe they'll move her someday. No. Speaking of moving slots, thank you for the reminder. I always forget. Jahira, folks. Jahira moved. Jahira has a new address. Jahira used to live in Slot 4, Idle Champion's Way. And now she lives in Slot 9. So she moved. She used to share a slot with Bailoth. You couldn't put all the heroes together. But now you can. Jahira was... I want to be very clear. Jahira was in my top tier of damage before her changes. Even though I couldn't have Bailoth supporting her in my formation, now they've moved her, made her better, and I get Bailoth. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what she does in this event, in this next event. I'm going to try to, I've been running Narak DPS. I'm going to run Jahira and DPS in this event and see what happens. So right away, Jahira's specialization choices. This is her class. They've called it Class Act now instead of Class Warfare. What she does is she synergizes around the other people in your group. So you're looking for the biggest number here. You're looking for the biggest number. You kind of want to know what your whole group looks like before you pick. And then you want to pick the biggest number because it increases the damage of champions of this certain type of champion. So you want to make sure that you're picking the group with the biggest number for reasons that we'll get to in a moment, and make sure that that's what your DPS is. Because she's increasing the damage of these certain classes or all heroes of Baldur's Gate, which is the one we're going to choose here. So you want to make sure first it's that your DPS falls in this group, whatever group you pick. And second, hopefully it's the one with the biggest number for reasons. It's going to work out this time because we're going Baldur's Gate, because we got all the Baldur's Gate folks in. But here's, and then her second specialization, we'll just cover this now. Here's her favorite foe. So she starts off as her favorite foe is beasts. She can change it to fiends or humanoids. This was always the case, but now they added undead. It's like they did this with an idea in mind, folks. So now you can, her favorite foes will be beasts, or fiends, or humanoids, or undead. We're going to go undead for obvious reasons, I feel like. All right, now let's go over her abilities, because those are kind of the core things of her kit. Fierce Hunter. So this says beast enemies. It's now undead because we changed it. Are Jahira's favorite foe. When an enemy of her favorite foe type is attacked by any champion, not killed, just attacked, Jahira gains a hunter stack. This increases her damage by 200% per stack and increases the effect of Class Act. So buffs everyone that's in that group, including herself if she's the DPS, for 100% per stack. These stack additively, they max at 20 stacks, and they reset when you change areas. This is fantastic because anybody can be attacking. You don't have to kill it. Her damage will ramp up fully. Great. It used to be when stuff was killed. This is the better way. So she got better. Battle Focus. After 20 of Jahira's favorite foes have been killed, this one does require the killing, this ability activates and she becomes more focused, increasing the effect of Fierce Hunter by 400% until you change areas. This is fantastic on your trash mob levels. It doesn't do anything on boss levels unless you're on a boss that streams tons of enemies. But Battle Focus, so you're going to lose some damage on boss levels. But you get to max out Fierce Hunter even on boss levels, which fantastic. Persistent Focus. This is now the ramping feature. It used to be that you wanted her in from the very beginning. There's an argument that you still are going to be better off if you do, but you can ramp this up. They made it easier to ramp her up later on. So if you just drop her in later, you can still ramp her up pretty quickly. Jahira gains 1 stack of Persistent Focus every 30 seconds while Battle Focus is active. So as long as she is in her Battle Focus, so you've killed 20 enemies on a level, she's in Persistent Focus and she will stay there. Now, she also gets a stack if it expires. So you're getting 1 coming in, 1 every 30 seconds while you're there, and then 1 when it falls off. So she has the ability to gain more stacks as you're pushing, or even if you're just sitting on 1 level farming it. Great. This increases the damage of all champions, including herself, by 25% per stack, stacking additively. Unity is the reason we want Class Act to cover as many things as possible, along with the DPS. It increases the effect by 200% for each champion affected by it, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. So right now, if we look at Unity, with a full formation, we're getting an EO5 multiplier onto Class Act because we've got 8 stacks, which puts our Class Act at an E12 bonus. What? Jahira? What? It's great. It's great. Yeah, and then her ultimate stayed the same. We can take the familiars off the field, actually. Because Animate Dead is killing stuff. Her ultimate stayed the same. It's the bees. Now remember, they stay for 30 seconds, but you gotta... Oh, I'm gonna move. You gotta remember, it doesn't drop them right in front of the formation. It's a little back from the front of the formation, which we'll show off right now. So they're right out here. They hit this mid zone where usually the ranged enemies stop. That's what its target is. Jahira's ultimate is to get rid of ranged enemies. It won't do anything for the melee ones sitting on your tank. She'll take care of those herself. Item-wise, self-damage, damage all champions, class act, persistent focus, and then ultimate attack and ultimate cooldown. This one's, man. Yeah, this one still remains real good. We get damage all champions, we get self-damage feats, you get fierce hunter, you get class act, persistent focus. So you can buff all the things. This one decreases the stack time of persistent focus to 20 seconds. So this is a great one to pick up. It's out of the chest feat, so you just got to get lucky. But this is going to make her stack faster. And that's what you want, right? So Jahira, fantastic, just got better. She has the throwback Baldur's Gate skin for those of you who are like, who's that? Because her core art for here is from the card game, from the recent card game. But here's the throwback skin. And on to the final member currently. Remember, Imoen is coming on Wednesday. Neris, our Cleric of Kellumbor. She is healing support. Her basic attack changed a little bit. She cleaves all targets near the closest enemy. But now, undead enemies take an additional 5 seconds worth of bud damage. Again, with the undead stuff. This group, as a team, you set them to undead. They just want to just destroy all the undead, folks. All of them. All of them all the time. And that means they can go with someone. Oh, look. Esmeralda's over here. She'd like to help you kill some undead. Spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapon got a great little change. Just a little clarification, just a little niceness. Neris calls her spiritual weapon to her side. It attacks on her timer, dealing her base damage with a bonus, so more than her base damage. But spiritual weapon attacks can set Bud, and initially they will credit Neris. So, this is important because spiritual weapon always does more damage than the base attack. So now we know it's going to set Bud. You're going to get the bonus for this. Yeah. War healing got a change. So before it healed when you killed an enemy. And there was a spec choice to have it heal when you got an enemy to half health. But now, when her spiritual weapon attacks, Neris targets the whole column with the most damaged champion in it. And heals all of them for an amount. So she is now a positional formation... I guess healer, because it's going to target a whole column. Wild. Sanctify. So undead enemies become her favored foe. And take 100% increased damage from all champions. So, again, we're pumping out lots of undead with this formation. And she's going to say, hey, everybody gets to do more damage against them. Not just me. Now, Follow My Friend is the follow-up to Spiritual Weapon. So her Spiritual Weapon now, when you get to level 70, it attaches itself to the champion who's doing the most damage. If you see on the left side of my screen, of the game screen, it's hovering over Delina. It attacks on that champion's attack timer instead, and it deals damage based on their damage instead of Neris's. So it's switching its owner in a sense. If those attacks are Bud setting, which they should be, then the champion it's following gets credit for setting the Bud. Alright, so, again, keying off the Bud, making sure you're getting the damage, all the damages you should be off Spiritual Weapon now. The spec got changed a little bit, so now increases the effective war healing by 100%, if you want more heals. The middle one, Spiritual Weapon, just damage bonus Spiritual Weapon by 200%, just to everything. Or... The new hotness, increase the damage of spiritual weapon, but only against favored foes by 400%. Yes, please. I'm running a favorite foe formation, so give me that 400. That sweet, sweet 400%. Yeah. Yep. All right. I want to say that's everything for her. Yeah. Ultimates tip the scales. Sheeps on the field, unleashing Halo of Divine Energy hits all enemies, decreases their damage by 50%, so another survivability one, while increasing the damage the party does by 300%, and it lasts for 30 seconds. Boom. Like that. Like that. And she's got a skin, too. She got a wolfy skin. So there you go, folks. This is the current lineup of Baldur's Gate. And remember, this coming Wednesday, December 21st, Imoen will arrive in slot 11. So the Heroes of Baldur's Gate will be in 9 out of 12 slots. That's a lot. That's a lot. And her kit looks good. Check it out at the Codename Entertainment blog for now. We're going to take a short break so I can drink some water. And then we're going to come back and I will answer the questions from chat that Martin has grabbed. We got about 9 of them. Yeah. This song, I got to preface this. This is the Space Hamster Blues. It's the song for Boo and Minsk. Because it's the Space Hamster Blues. It's Boo's song. This is the early recording. This was one of the original Bardic Inspiration recordings. This is way back in the day before they learned how to optimize all of the sound. So there's a little in and out of the audio at the beginning because of Zoom issues. Because playing music over Zoom is weird. But hang in there. It's great. Be back in a few.
Space Hamster Blues.
I was on my way to Toro when I crashed and was shrunken down. Now I'm stuck here wandering with this loud and rowdy clown. But kicking for goodness, I hear him shout from town to town. Here we are in Baldur's Gate, fighting monsters and bale spawn. He said something about magic and swords forever won. But kicking for goodness, oh my goodness, not again. He says he lives by the sword and his tattoo is purple, but it sure looks like the blues to me. How did I end up here stuck with these weirdos, shrunk down for eternity? Yeah, yeah, yeah. The rain and mud on my face. Life was simpler out in space. Crossing stars in the astral sea. Whatever happened to me? Kicking down doors, blood on the floors, endless heroic killing spree. He says he lives by the sword and his tattoo is purple, but it sure looks like a bruise to me. How did I end up here stuck with these weirdos, shrunk down for eternity? Yeah, almost dead and it's thrill. My best friend trying to get us killed. The bigger they are, the harder he hits. Even demons and devils run back to their pits. The safety of numbers and we're with these pharmacies. Yeah, yeah. Oh. Our heroes and legends, fighting evil with my crew. Beholders and dragons and goblins and kobolds, may our swords strike ever true. Where goes the stench of evil, so goes the cleansing wind of Minsk and Boom. So now we go for the eye. Yeah, we go for the eye. How about we go for the eye? Yeah, we go for the eye. Oh, how time flies when you're going for the eye.
It's pretty great. Holy crap. It's amazing.
It is pretty great. It is pretty great. We're back, folks. I'm going to hit the questions. I just want a couple things. I saw a couple of questions in chat. I'm going to address them real quick. Someone was asking what the red mark on enemies is. It's only on undead currently. It's Jahira's favored foe mark, because she is the DPS. You need to see, just like with Minsk, you need to see who the favored foe is for the DPS. Yeah, it should be Jahira's mark, best I can tell. And then did I see the new achievement for Cridel? I did. I guess I should have talked about that maybe. Cridel now has a new achievement. Come down here. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. Have Cridel be overwhelmed for 60 seconds straight without taking damage. So you're going to want a lot of healers in your formation, folks. We talked about this before. Cridel and a bunch of healers, and then you get somewhere where, you know, where he's going to get overwhelmed and you can keep his stacks up for 60 seconds. I think somebody had posted a tip for this is like, you get somewhere where you can still click kill, but then you take the clickers off the field and you let them build up, and then you just manually kill some of them every now and then so he doesn't get too overwhelmed. Sounds good to me. I was going to do it on stream yesterday and I forgot. We also need a new achievement for somebody else. We don't have it yet. And I forget who. Somebody else's achievement. Oh, that's going to bug me. Hold on. Hold on. I could have sworn we needed one more achievement for someone else. They gave us the Cridel one. Oh no, they've posted too many times in the last few days. Folks, I did update, I think I said this at the top, I did update all my guides for all of these champions. I think mostly, I mean, for the ones that are really changed, yeah, but they should all be done now. Yes, Jahira. Jahira's achievement is tied to Lingering Anger, and Lingering Anger no longer exists. So at some point they got to change that to Persistent Focus. Maybe they have already. I don't know, because I can't remember where her thing is. So yeah, that might change, or they just might change it over. I don't know. I saw it pop for me again the other day. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that one. All right, rest of the questions. Gyaxoli, does Cridel dodge bosses as well? Yeah, Cridel dodges everything as long as he's got an evasion stack. Yeah. What I don't know if he dodges... Maybe somebody in chat knows already. I don't know if he dodges that, like, everyone takes damage on this level. I don't know if he dodges that stuff. Probably not. So, healers. Conspicuous Compiler. Does Shandy retain her dash if Cridel evades an attack? I don't know. Technically, your formation has come under attack. But, like, Rosie deflects, and it doesn't go away. Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. These changes are so new. There's some things I haven't tested yet, but you can go test it out. Chromatic, when did Jahira move to slot 9? Wednesday. Blade 1981. Does Bailoth's champion dies stack trigger off Spurt's ultimate? Yeah, but again, it's Spurt's ultimate should be so far apart that it's really not going to matter. And you're going to actually probably just be able to hit Bailoth's ultimate more often, like to really get your ramping damage. Like I said, I don't pay too much. I mean, I try to place Bailoth where I know he's going to get stacks, but I don't necessarily rely on that placement for his max damage. I rely on hitting the ultimate. Freeman, does Viconia's undead transformation count as 2 kills regarding Zorbu lifelong enemies? If something was a beast and she makes it beast undead, it should count. It should count for a kill for each, because we already know that it counts kill for each for drow and humanoids. Because when you're killing drow, they are humanoids, and you get credit for each. Because that's the effective way to do it. So yeah, if you can find a level that has drow and humanoids, drow as well as beasts on it, you can now farm all 4 of his things at once on one level, because with Viconia, she'll turn them into undead. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Blade 1981, how does Boastful work if you're in a zone that does not normally spawn a favored foe of Minsk? It spawns one. That's the thing, is he pulls out an extra enemy, and it comes out as his favorite foe. If you're watching this screen, occasionally you will see an undead version of an enemy walk out onto the screen, because with Minsk's face on it. Yeah, let's see if we can just keep things alive a little longer here, maybe. He will spawn. I swear, he will spawn an undead version. These are humanoid humans. This is why I don't consider it. There it is. See? Oh, this is now just... Oh, the red thing is now just favored foe. They got rid of the little circle under people. I don't like that. I'll be honest. So Jahira has it, but Minsk has it too. Man, I want him to put the circle back. The circle... There's so many things on a champion. I want that red circle back. The red circle was one of the clearest indicators in the game, and then they took it out. So yeah, that red icon is just favored foe in general, it looks like. Well, that's disappointing. All right. So yeah, I think they probably just now all use the same icons so that you know, like, who has the icon and blah, blah, blah. And honestly, I got to get all these people back in here. Just give me that red circle. Give me the red circle back. Let's put her over here. What else am I missing on there? There we go. So his favorite foe now a universal icon. Looks like it, yeah. Looks like it. It's the red icon. It's the red thing that's on their chest. Is now the favorite foe icon apparently. Lesh68 in the achievements. What is meant by complete all 3 variants of whatever for a champion? Okay. Yeah, we finished all of our topics anyway. In every event, there are 3 variants for a champion. In every event, there is the original Unlock Adventure, and then under that, there's 3 variants. The one to get to Area 75, the one to get to 125, and the one to get to 175. You have to complete all 3 of those to get that achievement. Now, if you're doing it for somebody who's in a time gate, every time you open a time gate, it will give you a different variant until you've done all 3 of them. It will give you the one you haven't done. So you have to do 3 separate time gates for every time gate only champion to get that achievement. When you do it for the first time, it's just going to give you one of the 3 at random. The next time, it's going to give you one of the 2 remaining at random. The next time, you're guaranteed to get the one you haven't done. And then after that, it goes back to giving you one of the 3 at random forever. So that's what it's talking about. Fantasy Reader, any forecast of future heroes of Neverwinter? We've already got Deacon. Not that I've heard of. I mean, we've got I mean, Makos was in the Neverwinter game, right? So there's a couple. Sergeant Knox is in here. Where's he at? Sergeant Knox. They just haven't given them. Yeah, there's no affiliation. I don't think they went in with the idea of, hey, we're gonna make a Neverwinter affiliation. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of time gates. It is, but here's the thing: is if you're trying to get full epic on all the champions, you should be running time gates for them as well as opening patron chests to get those. You should, most likely in the long run, we'll be doing 3 time gates for everyone. So, yeah, there you go. Celeste, Sergeant Knox, and Makos are from the Neverwinter MMO. There you go. Deacon was Neverwinter Knights 1 and 2. Sure, but they could put those all as Heroes of Neverwinter, because now we've got all these Heroes of Baldur's Gate, and they weren't all in the same stuff. The original Heroes of Baldur's Gate affiliation tag was only for the champions that were in the comic series by Jim Zub. Now they have taken. That's why things were a little weird, because now they've kind of taken up also people who were in the games and whatnot, and because Jahira was in slot 4 because Jahira wasn't coming in as a Neverwinter champion. She was coming in as a Baldur's Gate champion. She was coming in as the card game champion, because there was this, I can't remember the name of the card game. It was really neat, but that's why her art looks the way it is. And then they just decided, well, we'll just put all the Baldur's Gate people together in a tag. And now they've cleaned that up, and now everything runs across the whole system. A couple more comments on the favorite foe. So they did make Esmeralda's stuff trigger off favorite foe. I'm going to throw her in up here just so you can see it. It is now, whatever you choose is now her favorite foe. So this plays off the favorite foe thing. Her default is undead. That's why she's pretty fantastic with Baldur's Gate champs. Although in this formation, we need more tanks. Also, supposedly Turiel in the same slot. Turiel has favorite foe. Fiends now. Fiends are Turiel's favorite foe. You can't change his favorite foe. It's just Fiends. So whenever you want to run Fiends' favorite foe stuff, Turiel triggers that. And then Zorbu was supposed to change his stuff to favorite foes, but I didn't actually see it reflected in his champ UI. Like Turiel's, yeah, we can bring him out of it wherever he was. Turiel's specifically states unflinching hatred. Fiends are Turiel's favorite foe, right? Like there's a clear call out that something's going on there. We'll run this because Turiel actually is a tank. He's not. It says support in the sheet, folks, but he goes in the tank column. I promise. I promise you. Whereas Zorbu's doesn't actually have the call out. It's favorite enemies now. Okay. They changed this up. So Hunter's Pack is just if you're pushing regularly. Focused Anger is now for your farming his numbers. You have to select the favorite. Okay, that's how they did it. So I've got to update Zorbu's guide. It turns his... That's not the way it read to me, but sure. It turns those things into favorite foes. I don't know that... We always had a problem with Zorbu. Zorbu was always a champion who had 3 specialization choices, and the third one never got used. There was never a time where you would choose that over anything else. I feel like they did it again, folks. I feel like they did it again. Because this should just be how he treats these enemies. It shouldn't be a spec choice. Because 200% more damage, who cares? Who cares? Look, he's tracking kills against these things forever. He's creating huge amounts of numbers, right? of stuff for lifelong enemies. I want to be very clear here. Increases the effect of Hunter's Pack by the total bonus given by Seething Hatred. So if we look at, if I'm not even maxed yet, Hunter's Pack is damage of all champions adjacent to him. It also affects himself, though, right? And this gets boosted by Seething Hatred, which is the damage by 90, like a percent, minus 90% of his aggregate lifelong enemies buffs. Just look at these numbers. There's no way you would ever choose 200% and, oh, now they're favored foes. In my mind, there's no way you'd ever choose favored foes and 200% damage over all of this. Over all of this. I think they did it again. Unless there's just something about favored foes that I'm not seeing yet. I mean, I know it's going to, favored foes are going to boost other people in your party, but this is Zorbu has to be your DPS. Yeah, I don't know that I'd ever pick this. I don't know that I'd ever pick that. Because the damage bonus is just way too big. Off Seething Hatred. Like, now that I'm maxed, it's 730% of my lifelong enemy buffs. Again, look at my lifelong enemy buffs. It's an EO7 bonus. Why would I give up an EO7 multiplier for 200%? I gotta be missing something, right? Yeah, because here's lead the pack. This is the spec I chose. I'm getting an EO7 bonus. Why would I choose 200% over EO7? I don't know. I don't know, folks. I don't know why they made that decision. I wouldn't have made it. But I'm not a developer. So now, it used to be left and right were the specs. Like, you would go left to do damage, you would do right to farm stuff up. Now it's left to do damage, middle to do farm stuff up, and you're still ignoring the third specialization. We try them both and test. Look. Again, I'll swap it. We'll throw them back in. I want to show you we're going to go look at the bonus. Favorite enemies. They take 200% more damage from me. Before everything was taking EO 7% more damage. Not just my favorite enemies. Not just my favorite enemies. This is a 3 times multiplier. 200%. That's it. 200%. Before I was getting an EO 7%. EO 7 is 10 million %. And it works against everything. Everything. This is only on these 4. And it's a lower number. That math does not compute. That math does not compute. Alright, see? Lead the pack. Increases the effect of Hunter's Pack. Hunter's Pack is a generic damage to Zorbu and anyone adjacent to him. There's no way you would ever want. I don't understand. I don't understand. I need dev insights back. Oh, in the new year. Hold on. Here we go. Here's my question for dev insights for next year. Why would you ever choose? Sorry, folks. Yep, there we go. I have questions. Because we asked him before. I was always like, I would love for the developers to tell me why we use Zorbu's third spec. And no one ever had a reason for me. Still think we don't. Iron Bream, is there any function to see all champions by their party tag? No. No, there's no kind of sorting or anything like that. You just kind of, like, you start off the game with 12 champions. You learn those 12 champions. You'll pick up a couple on a regular basis, one here or there, or 3 at a time for an event. You just have to slowly learn who's who and who's in what tag. And then they have, you can always hover over to see the names. It doesn't tell you where they are, but over time you will learn all of the champions. It still takes me a while sometimes to remember where everybody is, because there's over 100 champions in the game. Yeah, but that information will slowly stick itself to your brain. Or like me, sometimes you'll just be like, where are they again? What bench? Oh yeah, they're over here. So yeah. I mean, they're pushing right along. All right. If anybody has more questions, we still got time. I know it's like everybody's like in holiday mode. This is the last stream of 2022 on the CNE Games channel. So for the next couple weeks, if you're looking for something to do, there's lots of streamers in the Idle Champions community. You can check the Idle Champions tag on Twitch. I'll be streaming on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. You can go throw me a follow. I'll be streaming pretty regularly over the break, Idle Champions and some other games. Speaking of which, later today, you can join me about an hour after this stream ends. It's Final Fantasy Saturday. We're going to return to Final Fantasy V. I have no idea how far through that game we are. I have no idea what's going on in that game most of the time. I feel like we're getting closer to the end. I have no clue. We're playing the Pixel remasters. It's a lot of fun. Which champion can turn some enemies into undead versions? Viconia. Viconia has a chance to turn things, to create undead. It is her Yesterday's Undead ability. So 20% chance that it spawns an undead version. Now you can increase that with other feats. There's one that's in a chest feat, 50% boost. So that would take it to 30%. And then 150% boost. So that would take it to 75%? I think that's right. Because these stack. So I want to say that's 75%, right? My brain doesn't do math when I'm on streams. Is it boostable, my Narak? She's got Wisdom 18. Hold on, folks. Hold on. That would be a little wild. But that's what Narak does. He makes things a little wild. So I wouldn't put it past him. It was 20% before. I didn't have anything slotted in. What is it now? Yes! Oh, good Lord. All undead all the time. So anything that isn't a boss monster, a static barricade, or isn't already undead will basically come out as undead. If you put Narak in with Viconia. I don't know what the use case scenario... Oh, it also triggers her animate... Oh, by the way. It also makes her animate dead up that high, too. Oh, my God. Oh, Narak. Look at all the animate dead action going on. With huge bonuses to the damage, too. This is actually fantastic. Here's what's fantastic about this, folks. I think I said this earlier. Narak is my current primary DPS. He's usually who I'm building formations around. Narak and Viconia are now a whole lot of fun. A whole lot of fun. Because look at that wall. Nothing's getting... I can take these out. Nothing's getting past that wall. And it just creates itself over and over again. Oh, this is gonna absolutely shred hit-based stuff, too. Because each of these is pumping out damage every second. It's just going to eat right through a hit-based or even an armored enemy as long as you've got the bud. Yeah. Who else is high enough? Neris. Neris can work with Narak. Jahira can. Jahira can. Minsk is not wise, folks. Neither is Shandy. She can do +1 wisdom. If they ever gave her a +2... I don't think they can. I don't think they can give Shandy a +2, folks. Here's why. Unless they just make it so that it doesn't work on dash, because it would blow the game up, because it would probably work on dash, so they'd have to turn that off. That would be real bad. Bailoth doesn't have a +2, otherwise that'd be nice. Cridel will never get there. They will never do a +3. They will never do a +3. Oh boy. Oh, Narak. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Riffraff, what are all the unlockable champions? I think I'm only missing Blushi and the Doppelganger. Doppelganger non-binary person. You're talking about Xeraphon. Xeraphon's non-binary. So all the evergreens. Hitch from the newsletter. Go get Hitch. Sign up for the newsletter, folks. Again, they're going to be giving out the holiday freebie. I forgot to check, and it may have gone out already. I think it's next week it goes out. Sign up for the newsletter right away. Hitch. Nerds are in the gem shop for an exorbitant price. It really should be like 1,000 gems. Just being real. Nerds are in the gem shop. Then Dritzt is in Sword Coast. Azaka and Dragonbait. I don't know why I'm counting numbers. Azaka and Dragonbait. Well, I guess I was getting a total. Are in Tomb of Annihilation. Alcoria is in Waterdeep. Rhea... who now has favored foe fiends as well. Rhea is in Baldur's Gate. Then we have Xeraphon in Icewind Dale, and we have Blushi in the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. So 9? 9 currently. We haven't seen the release of whoever's going to arrive in Spelljammer, Light of Xerxes yet. Because they don't have enough, they're not enough adventures in. Smoking. Gar, you're too good at answering questions, so for the first time ever, I have none. Look, I go into Q&A mode, and because sometimes, and we've got a good number of people here. Usually I can tell by the number of viewers that we have, how fast I need to answer questions. And usually with this number, I gotta go fast. Not today. Everybody's chilling. That's cool. Chill. Shevik. No. No, Shevik. No. The Lurking Writer. How do you feel about the lack of dwarven representation in the so-called heroes of Baldur's Gate? I mean, whatever. I mean, if it was the heroes of Gauntlgrim, I would be upset, right? If there weren't any dwarves. Baldur's Gate? I mean, I'm always upset when there's not a lot of dwarven representation, but... Cage trips or Kage trips? I'm new to the game. Welcome. I've gotten a couple champs, but not many other than the core. What champions would you suggest I try to unlock first? So, you joined at a good time. You could grab Cridel and Shandy right now for free with codes that someone can put in chat that isn't me. I believe one is Winterfest 22, and the other is Adventure Cal. Adventure Cal, because it's supposed to be like Advent Calendar. That'll get you Shandy, that'll get you Cridel. So there's two that we talked about today. Thank you, TG Nubis. Also, it's a free time gate weekend. So if you come to your screen, it's going to say, hey, free time gate. And then it's going to show you 3 champions up here. It's going to say free on them. You can pick one of those for free. tell us which 3 you got in chat, and we'll give you a heads up on what we think. And then also, right now, because the season's about to start, during the season, for 3 time gate pieces, you'll be able to unlock in any of these 5 heroes of Baldur's Gate. Shandy and Cridel, you're getting for free with the code. So what you're focusing on, Neris, Jahira, and Viconia. Neris, Jahira, and Viconia, you can pick up easily for 3 time gate pieces. If you don't have 3 time gate pieces right now, don't worry, because when Season 2 starts, on the free-to-play path, Tier 1, your very first 1,000 currency gets you 6 time gate pieces. So there's 2 of them. And then Tier 2, 6 more. There's the other one with some bonus. So you're going to be able to pick up a lot. Also, Wednesday, the next event starts. It is not Dragon Down. Why do they keep doing that? It's just Winter Shield. So in Winter Shield, we're going to see Viconia arrive. Oh, God, never mind. So don't pull Viconia out of a time gate. With your first 2 times, because you're going to get her for free in the event. Wow, Gaarawarr. And Bailoth. Bailoth's great. What a great timing. Here, you're getting the season of Baldur's Gate, basically, and you're getting 2 Baldur's Gate heroes. Plus, they just gave you 2 with codes, and then you get all the others cheap. And Minsk and Delina you already have. Yeah, it's pretty. They're Baldur's Gating it up. Imoen's coming out too, so you'll get 3 champions on Wednesday too. So right now, I would focus on those because those are kind of the like Jahira and Neris out of a time gate. Her out of the time gate, because that's going to get you the last 2 Baldur's Gate champions you'll need to have the set, basically. Yeah. Do that for now. Zadmer. When would one use Black Viper? When the game says you have to. Unfortunately, she's not in a great place. So when you want to, and when the game says you have to, but she's not a super strong at the moment. So, Drecker, why is Narak your favorite? Well, he's not. I didn't say he's my favorite. He's who I'm using as my primary DPS lately to push deep, because he pushes deep. He's gotten me up into the 1400s. Now, granted, I have a strong account, so yeah. But he's been the person who's gotten me the furthest when pushing lately, in events. So that's why he's who I'm using. Right? So whenever I push deep to my wall, I get to my wall, I do every now and then, I've started doing these tests to see, who is the group that's at the top of my DPS chart, so I know who I should be trying when I get restricted out of things, especially in Trials of Mount Tiamat. And Narak is up there. Now I think Jahira might beat him. She was up there with him, but she wasn't beating him. I haven't even tried Narak and Valentine. Oh, no. So I was doing great with Narak without Valentine. I always forget about Valentine. I don't know why. Neoxel, speaking of gems, is about 1 to 1.5k per hour the normal average, or is there a good way to boost them outside of the 2 favor ones to add +2 per boss? Oh, I mean, the blessings, you're going to want to get those blessings. You're just going to want to get those blessings. One of them is in Sword Coast. There's no reason not to get that right away. I can't remember where the other one is right now. Somebody in chat will say. But is that per hour normal? I don't know what normal is anymore. I'll be honest. I really don't know what normal is anymore, because I've been far from normal with my gem earning for a long time. I tend to not pay attention to how much I'm earning, unless I'm tweaking out my automated Briv gem farming. Before the change to Minsk, folks, if you were doing automated Briv farming, you know that the change to Minsk broke that, and you're going to have to fix it. You have to find somebody new. I was getting like what was the with a medium speed potion and the gem hunter potion? I want to say I was getting like 16. Wasn't hold on. People from my Discord will know. Wasn't it like 16,000 per hour? It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. So I don't know what normal is anymore. Normal for a regular speed group in Mad Wizard? I have no idea. So here's what I say is, hey, if that's what you're getting, great. You can always drop your formation into the Discord or post who you're using on Reddit. And people will let you know, like, if they think maybe somebody else is going to be better, but I don't know what normal is anymore. But you're definitely going to want those blessings when you can get them. Yeah, Lurking says it was 60. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was like 16,700 per hour or something. What I figured out was that if I left my computer on with those potions, which I had plenty of, for 12 hours a day, just 12 hours a day, I could earn 200,000 gems a day. And I was like, that's a lot. That's not okay. That's not okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what normal is. That's a problem. But I'd say, hey, look, if that's what you're earning when you're AFK, just from churning Mad Wizard, I feel like that's fine. I mean, you just want to make sure you're having all the speed champions that you've got in there, except for Briv. He doesn't do anything for you on Mad Wizard, really. You know, and then fill in whatever with the rest. That's what I used to do. Get up, I just joined. What is the 200k formation? Oh, that was the automated Briv gem farming. I can't, well, I guess I could try to switch to another. Yeah, let me go over here. Yeah, I was doing medium speed potions because I had enough to keep those on all the time. And I had a gem hunter potion on, so it definitely wasn't normal. Let me go over. Again, this formation is broken now because of the Minsk change. I'll have to come up with a new one. But it was Icewind Dale. It was Everlasting Rime. So top. Oh, I forgot to I forgot. I gotta back out. I gotta get rid of Patron Vajra. I gotta get rid of Patron Vajra, or it's not gonna show up. Or it's not gonna show up anytime now. Anytime now. Come on. Yeah, like Lurking Writer says, the strength of whatever device you're running the game on is going to determine how much you get to. I got a good computer. So I had Briv, I had Penelope for survivability reasons. It was real weird. That's just what you got to do sometimes. Human in a non-optimal spot for reasons. Dragonbait, Sentry, Minsk, Whittle, Shandy, Deacon, and Virgil. Yeah, that was what it was. Now I have to change it. Now I have to change it because it can't be that anymore. Can't be that anymore. Because the Minsk, the whole spawning of the favored foes just destroys that whole setup. Destroys that whole setup. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think overall... Oh, that's the wrong button. I think overall we're better off with the Minsk changes. Just in general. It's just, you know, it's good that it annoys the tiny little... Maybe 0.5% of us at the top, maybe 1% at the top who are using Minsk for Briv stuff. Trivia list. Free time gates are Barrowin 4, Cthulhu 3, Celise 4. I would go with Cthulhu so you have 4 in each slot. 4 split the party. Yeah. Up through 4, you always want to go with whoever's the least in the slot. Trib 74. Who are you using for Briv stacking? Oh, I just put that in there. I'm experimenting with Esmeralda Neris combo posted on Reddit. I'm still working. I have not. So post change, I have not been doing anything yet. I was too busy updating all the guides so that I could have those updated for all of you, but also have the information to come here today. So hopefully, maybe that's what I'll do on Monday for idle chatter. So Monday I stream idle champions on my channel, and I usually pick a topic to dive into, and maybe it'll be Briv gem farming post Minsk change outside of the season, and then I'll just have to change it again once the seasons are going to throw it off. Yeah, we'll try that Monday. TS Forest, I've unlocked several champions over the past 2 days. Nice. I'm saving the named gold chests until they're at least full green or better. Good. That's optimal. But as I'm opening Electrum chests, it's giving me blue duplicates to my evergreens, and not giving the blue items to champions who still have white items. Here's the thing. Is it only dropping like... If somebody in chat tell me, does an Electrum... Here, I guess I'll go look. Basically, my question is, does Electrum only drop one? Yeah, one equipment item. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't feel like the right... It doesn't feel right. No, I would submit a ticket. That doesn't... Yeah. It should be dropping an upgrade. Well, no. I don't think Electrums guarantee upgrades. So it's probably right. As odd as that sounds, it's probably right. But submit a question and just ask them. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I was expecting. What is it supposed to be doing? This is always the format for submitting a ticket. Here's what I'm seeing happen in game. One paragraph or sentence. Come down. Give it a break. So it's not a wall of text. Here's what I expected to see. Line break. What is this like the outcome supposed to be? How is it supposed to work? So I know. And then if it's a bug, they'll let you know it's a bug and they'll look into it. If it's not, they'll tell you that it's working right. It's supposed to work that way. Yeah, find out. So yeah, I would say submit a ticket and ask. Just understand we're going into the holidays. I don't know what their ticket coverage is going to be like over the holidays. Last couple of questions. Smoking Timegate, Nahara, or Jim. I think we did this yesterday. Nahara. I would go Nahara because I would use Nahara more than Jim. I only use Jim if I'm click debuffing, in all honesty. So I use Nahara for far more things. But you choose whatever you want out of that. Kenobi, is AFK farming better using speed champions with familiars versus the familiar clickers? You want both, ideally. If you don't have enough familiars out, like your minimum setup for like Mad Wizard is usually 5 familiars on the field, 1 familiar on click damage, and then 1 on each of the champions in the formation, which means you would need 15 familiars. If you don't have 15 familiars, then you focus on the speed champions. I feel like, yeah. You either have to manually level them up or focus on the speed champions. Why 5 on the field? Because the 6 slot only kills from the distractions. So, and that isn't important. But 5 will pick up all the stuff right away and open the bags right away, and that cuts a lot of time out of waiting. Yeah. So ultimately, you want to shoot for 15 for Mad Wizard gem farming, but use whatever you got. Just you gotta pick your poison. Drecker, is the XP bonus from Nordum worth it? I've been toying with the idea of time gating him. I mean, it's bonus experience. It's bonus XP for leveling up your Modron cores. There is an item for that. So it starts out kind of low, but it's extra. So it's hard to say. I mean, if you have the blacksmithing contract, if you can gear him up and throw some blacksmithing contracts on him, it can be okay. But you have to remember it's really for like grinding out levels. It's going to make it go fast. Speed champions tend to probably be the better investment if you don't have all those yet. Yeah. Because they're going to speed you up overall. Now, so when does Briv become worth it? For gem farming? When you're guaranteed to jump one area with a 20% chance to jump the second. So you say yours is currently at 2 skips, so yeah, it's worth it. It just becomes super optimal at 4 at a guaranteed 4 jump. And then blow your mind away at 9. I don't even understand how. Man, 9 jump is wild. Because 4 jump is already throwing me, like I said, with those potions, 200k a day. If I'm only farming for 12 hours, if I were going to be one of those people that leaves my computer on 24 hours a day, that'd be 400,000 gems a day. That's just ridiculous. Nobody needs that. Some people want it, but nobody needs it. All right, folks, that's going to be it. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out. If you'd like to hang out with me some more later today on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr for Final Fantasy Saturday. Yes, there's an F at the start of all those words. We're going to head out on Shandy's song, Shandy, the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. If I do not see you until the new year, remember, Sandy streams are done until January. If I don't see you till then, happy holidays, happy new year. Otherwise, come hang out with me and chat. Bye, everybody.
Fill your cups with mead or wine and go top off your ale. Now it's time to gather close to hear this halfling's tale. Battling dragons, skeletons, and riding on a whale. Hunting down the creatures that make other heroes pale. Shot the dragon orb out of a deadly frost giant's hand. Freeing all the dragons out from under his command. She's Shandy, the hero of Baldur's Gate. She's Shandy, the savior of all. She's fleet of foot, quick of hand, with eagle eyes she spies, always taking down evil monsters 20 times her size. She's Shandy, the hero of Baldur's Gate. Battled 50 demons, then she banished 50 more. Just an arrow from her bow can kill 1,000 orcs. You want this woman on your side whenever you go to war. Her enemies will never know just what she has in store. Like the time she knocked the teeth out of a bugbear's snout, or when she sent 100 soldiers scrambling in a rout. She's Shandy, the hero of Baldur's Gate. She's Shandy, the savior of all. She is great of foot, quick of hand, with eagle eyes she spies, always taking down evil monsters 20 times her size. She's Shandy, the hero of Baldur's Gate. She's Shandy, the savior of all. She's fleet of foot, quick of hand, with eagle eyes she spies, always taking down evil monsters 20 times her size. She's Shandy, the hero of Baldur's Gate.